الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Last time we were talking about the advantages of fasting. What do we get out of fasting? And today inshallah we will try to elaborate a little bit more on the same subject. Fasting establishes the sincerity in the soul of a Muslim. When a person fasts only for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, this makes him sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's not fasting to impress someone. He's not fasting to get a raise in his work. He's doing it solely for Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward him greatly for doing this for his sake. There is a hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Allah Almighty says. So this, when we hear this sequence, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah said, we know that this is not the Qur'an. This is what we call hadith Qudsi. And this is between the Qur'an and the Sunnah, where the text itself is from Allah Azza wa Jal, yet the words is from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has composed it in this way. Therefore it's not Qur'an, yet the text itself is from Allah Almighty. Allah Azza wa Jal says, every action of the son of Adam is for him except fasting. All what you do is for you except fasting. Allah Almighty says, for that is solely for me. I give the reward for it. The fast is a shield. Allah Almighty says that fasting is a shield. A shield from what? Does it prevent enemies? Does that mean if we're attacked by our enemies, we just fast and it's a shield? Does it mean that it protects us from fire? It protects us from loans and so forth? No, it's a shield. A shield from doing sins. A shield from going into hell. It prevents you from going and approaching hell. The fast is a shield. If one is fasting, he should not use foul language, raise his voice, or behave foolishly. If someone reviles him or fights with him, he should say, I am fasting, twice. I am fasting. So this hadith clearly states that fasting is for Allah Azza wa Jal, because it's between you and Him. I could have a son, and whenever I see him in the house, he's not eating, he's not drinking. Do I know if he's fasting or not? No. He would say that I'm fasting, Father, but if he goes in his room, what is he doing? I don't know. If he has some candies or some beverages and he's having it. What prevents this laborer who's working under the heat of the sun in high noon, digging the ground or farming his farm? What prevents him from taking a sip of cold water? What prevents this woman working in her kitchen from eating the food she's tasting? It's one spoon. Would it hurt? What prevents her from doing this? What prevents her from doing this is her sincerity, her belief in Allah Azza wa Jal that He's watching. And this is one of the greatest attributes of Islam. How come? Islam teaches you to do things by observing Allah Azza wa Jal and by having your thoughts that Allah is watching you. So what prevents me from doing bad things is that Allah is watching me. While in other communities, in other material societies, I would not steal because the law will punish me. But if the law is not there, if I can go away with it, what the heck? Steal as much as you want. So it's not fear of Allah, it's fear of the law. Muslims fear Allah and they have it in their conscience. And that is why if you go to prisons, if you go to Western prisons, and you see those who are incarcerated or whatever they call it, you ask the guys in these jails, How do you think about these people who came in as non-Muslims and then reverted to Islam? They'll tell you it's 180 degrees change. These guys are more calm, they're more peaceful and good for the society. It transformed them completely to a different, new person that knows how to communicate with others, that knows how to deal with the society, and that has a relationship with his Lord, with Allah Azza wa Jal, that governs all the things he does in his life. Also, fasting establishes patience. It makes you tolerate things. In the hadith we've just heard, if anybody fights with you, reviles at you, all what you do is, I'm fasting. See, the only thing that prevents me from hitting you back is I'm fasting. And this makes the one that is fighting with you ashamed, because he knows that you're capable of hitting him back, swearing at him, fighting with him. Yet you're not doing this. Maybe he thinks, oh, this guy is weak. Maybe he's afraid. But when you say the word, I am fasting, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, he's ashamed of himself, and you learn self-restraint. You know that your strength is not by hitting others, is not by attacking others. Your strength lies in your ability to control yourself. Also, patience in not doing what Allah Azza wa Jal dislikes. See, in fasting, you cease to eat, drink, smoke, or have sexual intercourse with your wife, or sexual pleasure in any kind or any form. Yet, this establishes a lot of things in you. For instance, I see a lot of people that are engaged or on the habit of smoking. When you see them, you feel sorry for them, because if he does not have his pack of cigarettes in his pocket and he just has the urge to smoke, he would not hesitate and ask a total stranger to give him a cigarette. Now, anyone with dignity and honor would not ask for food if he's hungry. He would not go and beg people for essential things in his life. Why? Because this is completely out of the question for those with dignity. Nevertheless, his slavery to this habit, this bad habit, makes him ask for a cigarette. And this is wrong. Although it's forbidden, it's haram to smoke. Nevertheless, how do you dare and ask for such a thing? Now, fasting teaches you to be patient, because you stop eating, drinking, smoking, doing everything that was permissible a while ago for 16 consecutive hours. So even if you smoke after you break your fast, in the other months other than Ramadan, if you have the urge to smoke and you want to ask for a cigarette, you won't, because you're able to control yourself for a whole 16 hours, 15 or 17 hours. So it builds in you this patience and tolerance, and it teaches you to stay away from things that may humiliate you, such as a cigarette. Also, one of the advantages of fasting is that it reminds you of being thankful. We usually thank those who do favors to us. When my dad gives me money, my allowance, I say, thank you. When my boss gives me a raise, I say, thank you. When my wife cooks the food for me, I would say, why is the salt not there? No. I would say, thank you. I would be grateful for my wife, because she did something, she did me a favor. Now, look at yourself. Look at the environment you're living in. Look at all the blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal on you. He casted all of these blessings to you, because you are His servant and He loves you. He gave you food. He gave you 3 meals a day. Well, some of us take 7 meals a day. Who's counting? He gives you a shelter. He gives you everything you want. Everything you ask Him for, He has given you. But we usually look at the negative side. Okay, I made a request for 100 things. All I got was 98. Where are the remaining 2? We always look at the negative side. We are in blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal. So many of them. Ramadan teaches you to be thankful for these blessings. How? Simply by depriving you from some. See, you never imagine the use and the degree of this blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal upon you until it goes.